Morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita. I am Shenita Connolly, your host for this evening, and I am excited that you are joining us for a conversation with two amazing women to talk about their purposeful life. And so, hopefully, you guys will walk away this evening with more conviction for your own life. Um, as a result of listening to their stories. And if you're not living purposefully, that this will motivate you to do so. So, I want to just share a couple of things with you about living a purposeful life. As we know, everyone, or most everyone, I'm not going to say everyone, most everyone wants to live a purposeful life. It's a part of our human ways. And as we don't like feeling the feeling of standing still, most of us want to be constantly moving forward with some goals and or purpose. If we don't, we are less happy, less content. It's easier said than done, though. A purposeful life is when you are moving towards that goal in your life that aligns with your values, your passions, and it makes you happy. This is harder than it sounds because finding your purpose in life is not always easy. So, I am hoping this conversation this evening will help us along our journey of finding purpose. And I'll come back and share some more tips and suggestions on this very important topic after I have this conversation with these two amazing women. And I am going to introduce them or bring them into the studio and allow them to introduce themselves because who's better to do that but them themselves? So I am going to invite in Miss Cinda Brown. Good evening.
Good evening, Shenita. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you this evening?
I'm awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you here. So thank you. And hopefully, Miss D Hill. Good evening. Good evening, D.
Okay.
How are you? D, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? And thank you so much for having me today.
I am so delighted that you've joined us this evening. So thank you so much, ladies. And I would love for you, D, to start out by introducing yourself to the audience.
I'm Dee here. I'm the founder of Men and Women in Radio. I'm also the founder of Women in Radio. I'm also starting a nonprofit organization for men and women in radio.
I absolutely love it. And you are, I mean, you're a trailblazer in this industry of radio. And I don't know how many people are aware of who you are. I think you're kind of like a hidden jewel. So I wanted people to know who you are. And so I'm so glad that you're here to just share a little bit of who you are and what you're doing and what your purpose really stands for. So if you would share a little bit more about who D Hill is.
Dee Hill is a little girl from a small town from Andersonville, Georgia. And I moved up here to Atlanta when I was like in the ninth grade because there was really no opportunities or anything in a small hometown. And I came up here, I went to North Clayton. And once I got out of North Clayton, I wanted to be a fashion designer. So I had my own clothing line, the D Hill Designs, and I was doing a fashion show once. And from there, a producer at People's TV seen my work and asked me to come on his TV show. So I did that for a couple of years, and I also became a producer there as well at the TV show. And my purpose was to interview people that was in the fashion industry. And I started working back. I don't know if you all remember Mr. Alley Pat. Everybody does if you're from Atlanta. I started working on his TV set. By that time, I started doing more background work, like running the cameras and all that. And at this time, I'm still interviewing fashion designer, models, and makeup artists. I wanted to kind of put myself out there and broaden myself. So 2005, I did my first radio show, the D Hill Morning Show. And I wanted to have a platform where I was interviewing a lot of business owners. I wanted to give them a space to come on and talk about their business. And it took off from there. And I've met so many interesting people in the radio industry. And one day I just had a vision, because people in the radio industry was not really getting I don't want to say the word attention, but the word, I guess, credit that they deserve. So I was talking to a young lady by the name of Michelle Williams. She was the first female personality at 104.1. And I asked her, have they ever been recognized at the state capitol? Because that's something that a little vision I had, is something that I wanted to do. She told me no. So I went to at least about 5 different, I want to say, House of Representatives and senators. No one really got my vision of what I wanted to do. So I came across this young lady by the name of Representative Valencia Stovall. And I invited her to my first award show. It was Men and Women in Radio. This was probably, this was a long time ago. And it was like, from there, she was the only one that saw my vision of what I wanted to do. And by me and her working together, we developed a Men and Women in Radio Week in the state of Georgia. So I sat down with her. Oh, thank you. And we got that bill passed. It's my first time ever even hearing the word bill. And I invited all the radio stations to come down to the state capitol. And it was a very huge success. So going back to Michelle Williams, it was very important for me to get the Women in Radio passed at the state capitol, because I did not know that back in the day, because you was a female, you was a woman, you had to be off the radio at a certain time. I did not know that. So we had so many female personalities that was not acknowledged like the men were. So once again, I went to House of Representative Valencia Stovall and told her that this is the vision that I wanted for women in radio. And we made that happen. March 9th is for Women in Radio Day in the state of Georgia. And April the 21st through the 25th is Men and Women in Radio Week in the state of Georgia. And this is not just for women that's on the mic. This is for women work behind the scene. We only have like maybe 1 or 2 program directors in the state of Georgia. And also for women on, the internet, terrestrial radio, blog talk radio. I just wanted to give them a day in the state of Georgia because it was so well deserved. So that's a little bit about D Hill.
And so when I think about purpose-driven life, I think about you. And I think about all the lives that you've impacted over the years in just the little short time that I've gotten to know you. And that hasn't been that many years, but just an amazing woman who is determined to make a difference in the lives of those that you serve. So kudos to you today and always. I see that you're at work, working hard with your scrubs on and your hairnet. So I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here to share a little bit about who you are and why you are living this purposeful life. As you said, you came from a little small town I'm assuming, I don't know if it was South Georgia or somewhere in Georgia, and you thought being here in Atlanta was going to give you an opportunity to spread your wings, and you've done just that and are doing that. And so I applaud you. And I remember how I met you, hosting a event for your radio people on Facebook. And I saw, the event, and I was like, well, I can't attend, but I at least can go and volunteer and maybe help her set up. And so that's kind of like how it began. And so it's been a joy to know you. So I know we did not do an icebreaker. So I want to go back to you, Dee, because I know you have to get back to work before I talk to Cinda. But I want to give you this icebreaker because I want you to share your thoughts with it. So if you had to describe the color rust to a blind person, how would you describe that color to that person?
If I had to describe to a rust to a blind person, oh God, I think I probably would relate that to the color of bricks. Them being blind, I don't know, because I don't know if they would be able to imagine even the color rust. Oh God, that's a good one. I don't know how I would describe describe that to them, to a blind person, because they really can't see anything. So I don't know. I don't know how I would describe that to them. I don't know.
Okay. Oh. Say that again. I'm sorry.
What would your answer be? And maybe I can go.
If I had to describe the color rust to a blind person, I probably would say to them, because you're right, they don't know color. So I probably would say something like, it's a color that reminds me of the earth. I just probably would use something like that. It reminds me of the earth. It's dark, in color. It's not vibrant, of course, but it's substance. So when I think of rust, I think of a very strong color. So I probably would say something similar to that.
Well, I think that now that you have explained that, I would relate the color rust probably to earth. Probably to, I would ask them, have they ever felt a brick house? And I would tell them it would be related to the bricks, or it would probably be the same color as bricks. Usually I would tell them, usually when you see a person see a color rust, they think of something that has been laying around for a long time. That's probably old and that's probably need to be shined again. So I think that's what I would tell them for is describing the color rust. Not that it's old, not that it's not working, but it just needs to be repolished.
I absolutely love it. I love it. So I have a couple more questions for you. What has been one of the most defining moments in your life?
I wouldn't say it was just one. I would just say it was several. I think the defining moment in my life is just reaching out to people that I thought that I would never have any connection to, receiving a letter. Can I name more than one? Okay. Receiving a letter recognition from former President Jimmy Carter. Receiving a letter for men and women in radio from Congressman David Scott. Being honored there at the state capitol. Meeting the governor, having a one-on-one conversation with him, being able to reach out to your senators and House of Representatives. Like I said, that I'm from a small town, Andersonville, Georgia, which no one has ever heard of. And it's not like I finished schooling. So me being able to reach out to these people has been a very undefined moment. And I think for me, being able to have a friendship with the women I grew up listening to on the radio. No words for that, no words. And being able to call some of them my friends, being able to call some of them when I really need them. So I think those are, undefined moments, definitely for me. Definitely for me.
That is awesome. I absolutely love how you have been purposely driven to make sure that the people in radio are recognized and they are valued for the work that they do. And so I applaud you for your sacrifice, because when you live a purpose-filled life, there's a lot of sacrificing that you do to make sure that the purpose and the journey and the people that you serve are being recognized, they're being honored, they are being taken care of. And so I applaud you for all that you continue to do. And I want you to share with us, what are you looking forward to in your future of this purpose-driven life that you're on?
Definitely to continue honoring women in radio at the state capitol. And definitely, I would like this not to be only in Atlanta. I would like for this to be in every state. I'm working on, we're like maybe 3 years behind because of COVID. Once COVID is over, we would definitely be picking this, back up. I'm definitely planning on a parade, what is so well deserved for men and women in radio. And I would like for I don't like to make goals. I never make goals. I always just give myself a deadline when I'm going to do something. And I'm giving myself a deadline of next year for Tyler Perry to get in contact with me to make a movie about men and women in radio. So that's, what I'm looking forward what I'm looking forward to doing. And I never tell myself no. If I hear no 5 times, somebody's going to say yes. Even when I first started with men and women in radio and I wanted to do an award show, I was told not to do it because no one knew who D Hill was. But, I was persistent. Once again, gave myself a deadline. If people come, they come. If they don't, they don't. But I gave myself a deadline when I was going to do it. I did it, and it has been a huge success ever since. A huge success. And like I say, I don't know if you all familiar with this. I don't know the name of the show. It's on Netflix. It's about a game. This man, he has a game going. If you don't pass the game to the next level, he end up killing you. And, he was interviewing and he said that he wrote that show 9 years ago. He wrote that show 9 years ago. Everybody told him no. Everybody told him no. And it's like now it's a big hit on Netflix. People like that. I don't know if I'm getting off subject. I get so excited.
Perfect.
People like that motivate. Oh, thank you. Okay. And people like that motivate me. And I don't think that I would be here where I am today if I would have, listen to what other people, were saying. And I do have a drive. And people like you and Cinda, people that I have met along the way that has helped me. I never take any credit by myself. So I just applaud also the people that has helped me and pushed me and got me to where I am today. D Hill did not do it by herself. I did not do it by myself. I hope that answered your question.
It did. And you're right. You're such a humble spirit. And when we stay humble and we realize that it takes people to help us elevate and move forward, I just think you're going to always be blessed. and your drive, somebody's going to recognize what we do because we're doing it with a genuine, sincere heart and intention behind it. So it's not self-seeking, if that makes sense. And so I just appreciate the woman who you are. I appreciate how you advocate for mental health. I appreciate the purpose that you live, because all of us struggle with something, and it matters that we have people in our corner to support and uplift us. I remember when I was in a mental funk, and that's what I call it, after my husband died, and I couldn't find my way up out of that funk. And I remember friends would call me and say, "Neat, I know you're in a dark place right now, but we can't let you stay there. I know that you're there, but we can't," and they would call and they cared and they were concerned about me. And so, yes, it takes people to help push us along. And that's how I ended up living this purposeful journey like you ladies are doing, because there are people in our village that helps us move along. So before you leave, because I know you have to, I want you to share with the audience something that will encourage them to continue to live a purposeful life or to begin to live a purposeful life.
Something that will help you, something that's going to help me, even if you have to get a life coach to give you that push, to push you in that direction. And I want to share something with you all. I have two good friends. We've been friends for maybe over 10 years. I want to say maybe right before the COVID started. They're twins. I call myself the third sisters. And they invited me out to a, what do you call it when you put the pictures on the posters? My mind just went blank. And I remember when they did that, they put their picture on the poster of them being on TV. Now they're on TLC. So that's one thing that, I think is important that you put in your a vision board party. That's what it was, a vision board. I think it's important for you to have something like that going on and meditate. Once you do that, make sure that you meditate. And like I said, that some people probably tell you to get goals for yourself. I never do goals. I always give myself a deadline. Because, even if you do something 1% by that deadline, you have did something. And nothing wrong with going to YouTube to get advice. There's a lot of people on YouTube showing you how to do the different businesses you're probably pursuing. Invest in yourself. When I first started, that's something that I did not do, invest in myself. I would go out, I would buy the $100 shoes, but I didn't have no money to buy business cards, something that I really needed. Never tell yourself no. Never tell yourself no. Like I say, I went through 5 or 6 House of Representatives. I had that one to say, yes, I see your vision. People say step outside the box, pretend there's no box there. Just do it. Just do it. There's nothing that unreachable to you. Nothing at all that's unreachable. And like I say, I don't want to use the word, be different. Be different. Like I said, I went and I got the bill passed at the state capitol. Be you. Be you. And, people will love you. And sometimes, let me know if I'm talking to I'm excited about this interview, so I want to give you all as much as I can. And I had this one young lady to tell me that people love hearing you. So many years, a lot of people did not know this, and I'm going to share this with you, that I don't like talking in front of people, even though I'm on the radio, because I only have an 8th grade education. And to me, it was like I was not smart enough. And I always put myself on the back burner. And she told me, Dee, people love you because of what you have to say. And it took her to make me believe that, people want to see Dee Hill, not Dee Hill compared to anybody else. So that's why I say it's so important to be you. So important to be you. And sometimes, even like when I'm putting small words up on Facebook, I have to look up the definition. But I don't want that to stop me from doing what I want to do. So once again, do you, be you, and give yourself a deadline.
I just want to applaud you for being a great example of purpose and not allowing what the society says you need to have a college degree, a high school diploma, a PhD, a master's to be successful, to be impactful, to be determined, to be you, the beautiful you. And the vision that I saw, not only that time when I came to set up your event, was amazing. And then just recently, of course, you recognized Cinda and myself at the same event, and that's how we met. And another amazing event with amazing people that you selected to recognize them for what they do. And so your heart is huge and your heart is sincere and your heart is genuine. And so I am just honored to know you, to call you my friend as well. And so I just thank you for sharing your life, because you could be doing something totally different and I would have never met you. So I'm so glad that I got to meet you, and we're going to meet Tyler Perry together one day.
Don't count me out.
Yes. So Dee, I just want to say thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here this evening. And if you want to say something in closing, how they can reach you on social media or what have you before you leave, we would like for you to do that, so that if anybody wants to reach out to you, they can certainly do that.
Old fashioned. I keep everything old school. My name on Instagram, make sure you follow me, is The D Hill. Once again, that's TheDeehill, The D Hill on Instagram. Facebook, I'm under D Hill. Once again, that's my personal page. I will be getting a business page for The D Hill soon, but make sure you all follow me and follow some of the things, that I have coming up, that I have going on, and I will follow you back. Thank you. Let's network. Definitely. Let's network. Let's build together.
Thank you so much. And you have a wonderful evening, and know that I love you and I appreciate you. And thank you for being you. Thank you for being different. Thank you for being courageous. Thank you, dear. Good night. That was a wonderful, wonderful interview with the beautiful Ms. D Hill. So I just want to say thank you, D. Thank you again. And so again, tonight we are talking about living a purposeful life. And I have with me the beautiful Cinda Brown, who is going to share who she is and what she's doing out here in this purpose-driven world of life. So, Cinda, if you would introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cinda Brown, and I am the owner, the founder, and CEO of Voices of Them, a nonprofit organization that deals with children, anyone that is less fortunate. I partner with my circles to assist people who are less fortunate, who are lingering, left behind, left out, pretty much the underdogs of life. They don't have the knowledge to get what they need in order to survive, or they don't have the resources. So we come together and we help those who are less fortunate, left behind, lingering, left out. So the underdogs of life. Awesome. As well as Cute and Candid. Cute and Candid is an organization that deals with and focuses on the mental and health wellness of women. That came about because of my own traumatic past, and just knowing who I am gives me leverage to be who I am. And a lot of women, because of past traumas, they're not free to do so. So we want to focus on, the mental health portion of it, so that we're not bound by our past, because our past don't dictate where we're going. And then we focus on the overall health when it comes to the body, and how to free yourself and rid yourself of those things that are keeping you bound health wise. So
I appreciate that. And so with that, tell me, are you a mom?
I am a mom. I am a mom of 3 boys, 3 handsome men. I wouldn't trade them for the world. They think that they're my fathers. They're 29, 30, and 15. Where did the 15-year-old come from? I have no clue. No clue.
But he's here to stay.
He is here to stay, and he is going nowhere. I am just a newly elected PTO of Jonesboro High School. So
with that 15-year-old.
With that 15-year-old.
I love it.
Yeah, that's I'm come from just a small town. I was born in Noonan, Georgia, which is, the town is not so small now. My parents moved here to Atlanta when I was just little, raised in the projects. Then life began to happen. I ended up in foster care, being raised in foster care, then kicked out of the system, just to go home for me to be thrown back out to the wolves at the age of 15. So at that point, it was yet another part 2, I would say, of the game survival for me. Just being misunderstood, and then ultimately morphing into the woman that I am today. That's where a lot of my passion comes from. I have a great passion for people. I try not to get upset a whole lot, but if you want to upset me, let me see you mistreat someone else, because we all have a story, and because you make $2 or $3 more than the person before you, it doesn't put you on a different level of being better than. Financially, resourcefully, you're in a different position, but as a human, you're no better than that person. I mentor, women, young women, mothers, as well as youth who we call at risk, because I want to let them know. I think relatability is a great part of healing. If people have someone that they can relate to, then they're more open to receiving help. And then we're on the, right course of just healing altogether. So out of my past trauma, out of my hurts, this is where Voices of Them and Cute and Candid was formed. It was about a year ago for Cute and Candid, and I just had to run with it. So
I love it. And you said your past trauma,
yes,
contributed to the woman of purpose you are today, and you are changing lives, and and making an impact in the lives of so many people. That's how D recognized you, because of this purpose-driven life you're on.
And the thing about it is, the thing about it is that I don't promote a whole lot of stuff on my social media, because I believe what I am supposed to do, then I just do what I am supposed to do. And I'm supposed to help my brother. I'm supposed to help my sister. You never know who's watching, right? I was shocked when I received, notification that I was being honored. I'm like, what? I don't do anything, other than what I'm supposed to do. It was that start when I met Dee, that kind of propelled me to the next level, like kind of charging me, like, look, you have a purpose and you need to start operating in that capacity. So she just wouldn't allow me to sit still after hearing my story. She was like, no, you have work to do. So we need to get busy.
I love it. So I know we kind of missed, I know there were some great comments when Dee was introduced, and I want to share a couple of them by Miss Sherrielle Brown. She said that was an awesome story that Dee shared, and
Yes.
it was, and she also said that was so encouraging. And so I want to make sure that I highlight those comments from Miss Sherrielle Brown. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing those comments.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's go back to your story.
Yes.
And before we go into that, I know we didn't let you describe the color rust to someone who's blind. So go back and get that in. You know, we've been talking, but I want you to describe that. What would that look like?
Describing the color rust to a blind person, because they have, we're assuming, their hearing capacity, I would say imagine an orange dropping it down a well. And the reason I say that is because to me, the color rust has depth. And that's what it is. You know, when you peel an orange, they have their sense of smell. So he can smell the citrus fragrances, aroma that's coming from it, right? So you know it's bright, but then you kind of darken it up with dropping it down in the well. Well has depth. I don't know if that makes sense, but I kind of
It does.
I am so unorthodox in my
and there's no wrong answer. The beauty of this is there's no right or wrong answer. It's your answer. And so it's perfect answer. So I appreciate that. And thank you for that. And so as we go on, we heard a little bit about your story.
Yes.
And can you share with us what is one of your defining moments on this purpose-driven life that you're on?
One of my defining moments was,
and it can be more than one, like Dee said.
Well, I can tell you, I have two. One of the defining moments for me was, part of my story is I was abused. I was sexually molested and I was physically abused at the hands of my father. One of the defining moments was when he pulled me to the side. This was about 6 years before his death. He's passed on now. 6 years before his death, he pulled me to the side when I went to visit, and he told me that he had gone to counseling on his own, unsolicited. He had not gotten into any trouble. I think life had just caught up with him, and he just kind of maybe thought about the things that he had done or the people that he had hurt, and he just decided to go to counseling on his own, and then he apologized to me. My next most defining moment, because that relationship with my father was so important, and I never had his support until, a couple years, about 5-6 years before his death, when he looked at me and he said he was proud of me. I longed to hear that from him. Throughout my life, I was a person who always sought validation. And when my father told me that he was proud of me, of the things that I had done, gone to school, graduated college, raising my boys, to hear that from him, even though he was the person responsible for the trauma, it just meant a lot to me. Mm-hmm. So when he told me he was proud of me, any other naysayers outside of him didn't matter, whereas before they did. So that was two of the most. And then my mom, she comes in, well, she's my stepmom, but I call her my mom because she's been a mom to me. She's been there every step of the way. We had a conversation, and she acknowledged that she did believe that something had happened. to me when I was a little girl. So I think I was bound and kind of held myself prisoner based on the things that had happened to me. Being called a liar in the beginning of it, all I wanted was me or that title to be removed from me, and to know that I was believed, that I wasn't a liar, that it did happen. Those were the 3 top defining moments of my life that allowed me to just, you know what, now I can move on. So I had been stuck for so many years, but those were the defining moments for me.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad that you were able to move on, because if
Yes.
you hadn't moved on, I may not have met you. And so I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity as D Hill being the link in the chain,
Yes.
connecting us. And so I'm so grateful for the opportunity
Yes.
to know both of you, and that you're my Libra sister. And
Yes.
we literally sat next to each other that night. Can you believe that?
Yes.
So
It was the energy for me. It was like we just automatically connected. And then when we found out that we were Libras, twin sisters,
yes,
it was like, yay.
yes. So I mean, your story is amazing, and so I'm sure that contributed to your purpose, your businesses,
Yes.
your journey. Cute and candid. I'm cute
Yes.
and candid. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, cute and candid. Again,
And voices of them.
Going back to the trauma, right? So that kind of formed my relationships as I, grew or developed into adulthood, right? So I was in a lot of toxic relationships. There was a point in my life when I lost my virginity to a person telling me, "Oh, you look good. You're cute." I was the fair-skinned young woman, long hair and all of that stuff. So I would really appreciate someone telling me that I was cute, I was fine, and I was all of these things. And then here I am, I'm giving myself to you, But as I begin to heal over time, I look in the mirror and I see that I'm beautiful. I see that I'm cute. But it's not your average cute. CUTE is just you can be real lazy with the tongue, cute. But if you kind of do it with the KHUT, you have to pronounce that thing all the way, cute.
Cute.
And that's exactly what I am,
She is, and I be she. Tell us about that.
I be she. It is, okay, she is, again, going through life, people misunderstanding who I was and why I was the way I was. I was called this, I was called that. And a lot of times it did bother me, but again, through the healing process, now because I've rediscovered, or I uncovered who I was, I knew better and the words didn't hurt. So, oh, she's feisty. I be she.
I am.
All of that. I'm all of that. Oh, she's intelligent. I be she. She this and she that. It was all a lot of she. But guess what? I be she. And that's the end of it. So whatever you have me as in your head, it's okay. Because when I look at the woman in the mirror, I am open, I'm honest, I'm transparent. All of that makes me cute and candid. So you have to be transparent, especially when you're reaching out to someone else, because again, the relatability is what's going to connect you. I can't say that we would be sisters if you were an Aries, but we're Libras and we have some of the same points of personalities, so it connects us. So relatability definitely connects us. So I try to be as transparent as possible. I have no qualms about telling my story. It doesn't ruin the reputation of my father's legacy. It just says, this is what I've been through and this is what I've been able to overcome. And I've been put in position to help another young woman who may think that she can't get through it, to let her know it's okay. It's okay to be open, because as long as you're suppressing, if you take a balloon that's inflated, you suppress it by force, right? That is our intention. But as soon as you let your hands off of it, guess what? It comes to the surface. It resurfaces again. So until we actually deal with what's going on, that's where the openness is, and being candid. Until we deal with our issues that we held on to and internalized over the years,
Yes.
we're going to stay bound.
Yes.
When you pop the balloon, you dealt with it. It doesn't resurface anymore. Now you can move on.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, it's okay to for someone to say something and it stings and it hurts.
Mhm.
Particularly the truth, right?
Right.
Because eventually the truth truly will set you free.
It will.
And if it stings, it's going to heal.
Yeah.
We need to allow those things. Sometimes
Mhm.
people have to say things to us to help us move along in life, and they may be painful, but we have to allow those things to take place, allow the pain to take place, and allow the healing to begin, so that we really can live this purposeful life.
Yes.
Because if not, as you said, we will be stuck.
Yeah, we'll be stuck.
We'll be stuck, and we won't live out the purpose. So as we're talking about purpose, what is it that you're looking forward to in the immediate future?
I am looking for women to be receptive, to be open, and to connect while supporting each other while we heal. And I know that's a lot, but the general perception of women is that we're catty and we fight against each other. And I don't think until the past couple of years that they've seen a nation of women just rally around each other and support each other. We don't have to fight each other. It's too much going on, too much that we have to build, too much that we have to nurture, too much that we have to obtain for us to be fighting against one another. We have to come together, support your sister. If she encourages you, let her know that it's okay. You don't have to be the head woman in charge all the time. It's okay to sit back. And I'm okay with taking a breather and sitting back. Shenita, you know why? Because I have sisters around me that support me, and I embrace that support. So that's what I want. Just that immediate, let's open ourselves up to being there and receiving the support from my sisters.
Yes. I so applaud that comment. And I'm right there with you. We don't have to, because we're different, because one person may speak a certain way, or dress a certain way, or drive a certain car, or have a certain profession, doesn't make anybody any better than anyone else.
Correct.
And we have to really understand that we all put on clothes the same way.
Yes.
We all eat the same way. We all poop the same way.
Yes.
We all were born pretty much the same way, vaginally or through a cesarean. So when you think of it, there's no big eyes and little U's.
Little U's. Nope.
I may shine brighter because that's my purpose. It doesn't mean that you don't shine.
Right.
If we can get people to understand that it is okay for me to shine in my way and you to shine in your way.
Yes.
Because what God gave you on your purpose is truly your purpose, and it is going to benefit the people that he put in your path. And what he gave me and Susie and Mary and John and Bob, it's going to be beneficial to those on their journey. So there's no need to be jealous and envious, because we all have a purpose.
We do.
And that is one thing that I want to make sure people understand, that it is so important to live out our purpose.
Yes.
Authentically, genuinely. So is there anything that you want to share about maybe something that has happened? I know you mentioned that you were newly elected as a PTA president for Jonesboro High School, but anything else that you want to highlight about something that's happened great this year in your life? Anything else other than trying some of my desserts?
Yes, I think I've gained about 2 pounds eating your cakes, getting one every week. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
I
just getting
appreciate
good,
you so
everyone.
much.
Truly. I think what has happened to me, I met a guy and I allowed him, I gave up control of the date. So I allowed him to be who he was, and he appreciated me for just being who I am. And a lot of that came from being released. I think when my father he died a year ago from brain cancer. It kind of released me from dealing with or continuing to engage in toxicity on any level. So I've been able to walk away from toxic situations, ex-boyfriends. I knew situations weren't good, but I am holding on because they're familiar, but it was toxic. And I found that I held on to toxic relationships as long as my dad was alive. Now, I love my dad and I'm not dog dragging him in any way. I'm just telling you about me. Because the relationship from a little girl was toxic, right? I held on to toxic situations as long as he was alive because the toxicity was connected to him. When he passed on, and I do miss him, I love my father, I was able to clear myself of any toxic relationships, walked away from relationships with family members. Look, this is not for me. I don't have to be a part of this. Ex-boyfriends is, no, I'm done. It's a wrap, And I began to put me first. And that was a very first in my life. Taking trips. If I feel like I want to go to Miami, I'm looking up Delta, what flight she got, and I'm gone. Wherever I wanted to go. I've been traveling so much this year because I put me first.
That part.
And it was needed. So it's been very exciting for me. Just people in my circle forcing me to level up and step my game up. I have a great group. My circle is really tight. And just seeing how they move and they're telling me, you got to do something. They're holding me accountable. So those are some really good things that have happened to me in 2020. I hear a lot of people, talk about a lot of, missteps or misfortunes. I'm not in that group. 2020 has been beautiful for me.
Mm-hmm. And I felt the same way last year. 2020 was a blessing in so many ways for me. In 2021, although, I lost some family members in 2020 and my beloved brother in 2021, it still has so many blessings. And I'm still continuing to live that purposeful life. And I know you are too. And sometimes we do have to say so long to people and things that do not contribute to our purpose.
Yes.
So I appreciate you for saying you chose you, because many times we don't choose ourselves. So I love to travel by myself. I've already made plans for myself after Thanksgiving to get away by myself.
Yes.
And so a lot of times we have to make sure we choose ourselves on this journey, especially when we're living a purposeful life, because it can be very challenging at times, very draining at times. And so we have to balance that thing out by removing ourselves and choosing to do us so that we can get the respite that we need, get the rest we need, and recharge ourselves and ready to go again on this purpose-driven life. So I just appreciate you. If you want to share how they can reach you, I know we have the banner there, but if you want to share anything else in closing remarks to encourage anybody, I want you to take the time to do that right now.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to talk, find out more about both of my organizations, Voices of Them or Cute and Candid, you can reach me at sendab@cuteandcandid.com. The telephone number to reach me be 404-279-0797. I'm available if you need to talk. I'm here. I'm a listening ear. If you need to vent, you want to just kind of get away, I'm available because we need to be there. We need to be our sister's keeper, and I'm definitely my sister's keeper. I would have to just kind of piggyback on what Dee said, be you, be who you are. Either they're going to accept you or they're not. And if they're not going to accept you, then they're not meant to be where you are. Everyone is not meant to go along with you on your journey. Some people at some destination, but they have stops. And then the others that are supposed to be there, they're going to be there, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. So just be who you are. Heal how you need to heal, and just know that it's okay to be whatever people may see you as. She is, you be she.
I love it. I love it. She is.
You be she.
You be she. I be she.
I be she.
Yes.
Yes.
So appreciate you, Cinda.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much
you,
for
Shenita.
spending this time with me, you and Dee, two
Absolutely.
amazing women.
Yes.
I couldn't think of a better combo duo than the two of you together tonight. So
Thank you.
I'm sure that many are inspired by your story about what your purpose is, and I pray continued success as you continue your journey on through this life.
Thank
So
you so much.
thank you, and you have an amazing evening.
Yes, ma'am. Will do. You do the same.
Thank you, dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with two amazing women, Dee Hill and Cinda Brown. They are living purposefully on this journey called life, and I encourage each and every one of you to do the same. I said earlier when I was just sharing a little bit about purpose that I would come back and share a few more thoughts. And I want to share just a couple of things. When we think about purpose, there are a few common things that come to mind. I think about being a provider for my family, your family, living a successful life, whatever that may look like to you, making positive connections with others and enjoying those around you, traveling the world, fighting the declining condition of our planet. Those are just some common purposes in life that some of us may share. And I wanted to share an additional thought. How do you find purpose in life? The ladies have shared their journey. How do you discover purpose? It's going to not happen by you sitting in a chair and waiting around all day before this purpose finds you. No, you have to find it by doing new things and taking action. And behind the scenes, I am doing some things to continue to add purpose to my journey. If you haven't yet discovered your purpose in life, then you are not going to find it by trying the same things over and over again. It's also important to know that your purpose in life and your job are not the same things. Too many people look for a job that is, simultaneously something that can fill their purpose in life. A very small percentage of people find actual purpose in the work that they do. So, for example, I personally have a very simple purpose in life, and it has got nothing to do with my work. I actually live to work with widows and widowers, and that is not what I do on my job. I'm not saying that I hate my work, because I certainly don't. There's purpose on that job for me, but I just don't regard it as something that I'm passionate about, and there is a difference. I appreciate the job, the opportunity, and what I do. And so I want to make sure that we understand the differences. And I want to just give one example that someone shared with me that I thought you guys would really appreciate. This person got cancer at 30, and they were grappling with the question, My focus has completely shifted about purpose. And I feel like my whole point of life now is just two simple things: making positive connection with others and enjoying those around me. It is a lot easier to sit on the couch and watch a feel good show than it is to go have dinner with your in laws when you're tired. But what is the point in sitting there watching TV? We all waste way too much time doing crap like that. Better to build meaningful connections while you can. This is something that I say all the time: while you can. There are millions of super isolated people in the world as well who would kill to have someone to have dinner with. Sometimes it's just picking up the phone and inviting them. I know many, especially in my circle of widows and widowers. There's some of us, and we just yearn for connection and relationships. The other point is squeezing every bit of enjoyment out of life. You guys know I believe in that. I need to walk home. I can either take the subway for 5 minutes underground. That's just an example. Or I can walk 30 minutes through a park and tree-lined streets and truly enjoy it. Maybe get an ice cream on the way. That's just an example someone shared. I pick the fast way every time before. Now I constantly look for a more enjoyable route instead. And so we have to really think about, what is purpose? What is a purpose-filled life for us? What does that look like? And there are 5 fundamental factors of happiness. One being our confidence and self-love. Number 2 being a meaningful and purposeful life. Number 3 being positivity and optimism, something that you see me talk about all the time. Physical and mental health, another area that I talk about a lot. And freedom and independence. And so I want us to think about our personal lives, our personal journey, and what it is that we are destined to do on this journey. And find your way. Make an impact every day. I live my life out loud. I don't have no issues with anyone that chooses not to do that. Everybody has their own journey to make. And I am making my imprint because I know one day I will not wake up from my sleep, or I may not make it through the day. So while I have the strength that I have, while I have the time that I have, I am going to live a very purposeful life. And I try to be as optimistic about life, and I try to be an example for others, because I realize we all go through stuff and we need someone to encourage us. And I want to be an encourager in someone's life as often as I can while I can. So I am hoping that tonight's show was a blessing to you all, so that you can find your way, if you haven't yet found your way to your purpose on this journey, that these stories, these sharing tonight, will inspire you to do that. And so I want to thank you all again for being tuned in, for commenting tonight. Thank you again, as always, for your support. I appreciate you more than you know. And thank you for all the wonderful compliments. And you guys bless me more than you know. So thank you as well. So with that being said, remember that I love you, but God loves you most. He loves you best. Peace, love, and joy. And please tune in next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of Life with Shenita, where we talk about all things related to life. And we care about you. You guys have an amazing evening. Stay encouraged on this journey. Take care.